Rainwater pounds the abandoned fairground as Sheriff Diana Hawkins stares at what the storm has uncovered, two small skulls beneath the Ferris wheel's rusted base. Twin sisters Aurora and Aria Hayes vanished during the 1978 county fair, their disappearance the first, in a horrific pattern spanning generations. When Diana discovers a journal documenting a family's ritualistic feeding of the carnival Ferris wheel every 5 years, she unearths America's most disturbing serial killing operation. But as the mastermind behind the murders warns from her prison cell, the wheel never stops turning. Tonight, we dive into the dark legacy of the Black Family Carnival and the chilling discovery that some of them remain free, preparing to continue their gruesome tradition. Rainwater pounds the rusted metal base, washing away decades of packed soil. The excavator's metal claw freezes mid-air as the operator's eyes widen. There in the mud, bone-white against the dark earth, a human skull, and beside it, partially buried, another. Two skulls, side by side, beneath the county fairgrounds. Abandoned Ferris wheel. Sheriff Diana Hawkins kills the engine of her department SUV and steps into the summer downpour. Rain hammers her hat as she ducks under the yellow crime scene tape stretched across the entrance to the Millfield County Fairgrounds. 25 years on the force, 15 as sheriff, and she's never seen a storm like this. 3 days of relentless rain that's turned the fairgrounds into a swamp and exposed secrets buried for decades. "What do we have?" she asks, approaching the site foreman, who stands frozen at the edge of the muddy excavation. Construction crew was breaking ground for the new pavilion. His voice cracks. The rain washed away some dirt and they're just kids, Sheriff. Diana crouches at the edge of the hole, mud soaking through her uniform pants. The medical examiner, Liam Fleming, is already down there, carefully brushing away soil from what are clearly two small skulls. He looks up, his expression grim. "Adolescence, female, based on cranial structure. Been here a long time." He points to a scrap of fabric. "That's bell-bottom jeans. And this..." He holds up a tarnished metal object. Class ring. 1978. Diana's breath catches. 1978. The year Aurora and Aria Hayes vanished without a trace. The twins had been 16, honor students with matching auburn hair and quick-fire wit. They disappeared from this very fairground during the last night of the county fair. Their mother, Evelyn Hayes, had reported them missing when they failed to return home. The town had searched for weeks, flyers plastered on every telephone pole, news coverage that stretched beyond state lines, but the Hayes twins had simply vanished. "Get me everything on the Hayes case," Diana tells her deputy, Logan Morris, "and call Evelyn Hayes. Tell her we need to talk, but don't tell her why." Not yet. Back at the station, Diana pulls the dusty Hayes file from archives. Black and white photographs show two identical girls with bright eyes and matching necklaces. Small silver stars on delicate chains. The necklaces had been a 16th birthday gift from their mother just months before they disappeared. The original investigation, led by then-Sheriff William Freeman, had focused on a carnival worker named Henry Nash. Nash had a record, petty, a theft in 2 states, an assault charge that was later dropped. He'd been working the Ferris wheel the night the twins vanished. But there had never been enough evidence to charge him, and Nash left town as soon as the carnival packed up. Diana spreads the old file across her desk when her phone rings. "Sheriff, it's James Turner from the lab. We found something else at the excavation site." His voice is tight with urgency. 2 silver star necklaces fused together in the dirt. And Sheriff, there's something else. The medical examiner found fracture patterns on both skulls, identical fractures. A chill runs through Diana, despite the humid summer air. The twins were murdered, their bodies hidden beneath the very Ferris wheel where they were last seen alive. The station door opens and an elderly woman walks in. Her once auburn hair is now steel grey, but her eyes, Diana recognizes those eyes. From the photos of the twins, Evelyn Hayes, the woman says, voice steady despite her trembling hands. Your deputy said you needed to see me. Have you found my girls? Diana stands, her mind racing. How do you tell a mother that her daughters have been lying beneath the fairground for over 4 decades? Before she can speak, Evelyn pulls something from her purse, a yellowed newspaper clipping dated September 10th, 1978. The headline reads, Twin Sisters Missing, Carnival Worker Questioned. He's back in town, you know, Evelyn says, placing the clipping on Diana's desk. Who's back? Henry Nash, the man who took my daughters. Evelyn's eyes harden. I saw him yesterday. After all these years, he's back in Millfield. Diana's pulse quickens. Are you certain it was him? A mother never forgets the face of the man she believes killed her children. Evelyn's fingers trace the newspaper photo of Nash. He's older, but it's him. He was watching them put up the Ferris wheel for this year's fair. The same Ferris wheel where the bodies were just discovered. After 45 years, was Henry Nash returning to the scene of his crime. Diana drives Evelyn home, watching the elderly woman from the corner of her eye. Despite her age, Evelyn Hayes carries herself with rigid composure, a woman who's lived with uncertainty for decades, neither able to grieve properly nor move on. I never left this house, Evelyn says as they pull into the driveway of a modest, 2-story colonial. People told me I should move, start fresh, but how could I? What if my girls came home and I wasn't here waiting? Inside, Diana's struck by how the house exists in 2 time periods simultaneously. Modern appliances in the kitchen, contemporary furniture in the living room, but the twins' bedroom upstairs remains frozen in 1978. 2 twin beds with matching purple comforters, posters of Fleetwood Mac and ABBA on the walls, a shared vanity, with hairbrushes and lip gloss arranged neatly, as if the girls had just stepped out. I dust in here every Sunday, Evelyn says, noticing Diana's gaze. Sometimes I sit on their beds and try to remember the sound of their voices. Diana's phone buzzes with a text from Liam. Confirmed. DNA from tooth pulp matches maternal samples. From original case file. It's them. Mrs. Hayes. Diana starts, her throat tight. I need to ask you about the night Aurora and Aria disappeared. Evelyn sits on Aurora's bed, hands folded in her lap. September 8th, 1978. Last night of the fair. The girls were excited because they'd been saving their allowance all summer to ride the attractions and play the games. Her fingers worry at a loose thread on the comforter. Aurora wanted to win. One of those giant teddy bears. Aubria was more interested in the Ferris wheel. She loved heights, that girl. Did they go alone? No. Their friend Olivia Barnes was supposed to meet them there, but she got sick, stomach flu. The girls decided to go anyway. Evelyn's voice catches. I should have said no. If I'd just said, no. What time did you expect them home? 11. The fair closed at 10:30, and it's a 15-minute walk from the fairgrounds. When midnight came and they weren't home, I called the police. Evelyn's eyes harden. Sheriff Freeman didn't take it seriously at first, said they probably met some boys, lost track of time. But my girls wouldn't do that. They would have called. Diana nods. The original police report confirms this. First contact at 12:17 a.m., but no official missing persons report until the following afternoon. What can you tell me about Henry Nash? He operated the Ferris wheel. The girls mentioned him a few days before they disappeared. Said he gave them extra rides, didn't charge them. Evelyn's mouth tightens. I found out later he had a record. Why was someone like that allowed to work around children? The carnival did background checks, but they were basic. Nash's convictions were misdemeanors. Diana hesitates. You said you saw him yesterday. Where? At Donovan's diner. He was having coffee, reading the paper, like he had every right to be back in this town. Evelyn's hands clench. I nearly collapsed when I saw him, 45 years older, but those eyes, I'd know them anywhere. Diana makes a note. I'll find him. Back at the station, Diana reviews what they've gathered. The medical examiner has determined both girls died from blunt force trauma to the back of the skull. The injuries are almost identical. Same weapon, same force, likely the same perpetrator. Time of death estimated within 24 hours of their disappearance. Deputy Logan Morris enters with a manila folder. Got Nash's current details. He's staying at the Millfield Motel under his own name, arrived 3 days ago. And there's something else. He pulls out a printout. Nash has been back to Millfield before. Every 5 years, like clockwork, always during fair season. Stays a few days, then leaves. Diana stares at the check-in dates, 1983, 1988, 1993, 1998, 2003, 2008, 2013, 2018, and now 2023. He's been returning to the scene. The realization sends ice down her spine. Classic trophy behavior. There's more, Logan says. I talked to Chloe Foster at the Historical Society. She's been digitizing old newspapers. In 1973, 5 years before the Hayes twins, another girl went missing from a county fair in Westridge, 50 miles from here. Layla Bennett, 16, never found. Diana's mind races. The carnival would have been in Westridge before coming here, and Nash was working it. Diana grabs her keys. Let's pay Mr. Nash a visit. The Millfield Motel sits on the edge of town, a single-story row of rooms with peeling paint and flickering neon. Room 7's curtains are drawn. Diana knocks, hand resting near her holster. No answer. Mr. Nash? Sheriff's Department. We'd like to talk to you. Silence. Logan tries the door. It's unlocked. The room is empty, but recently occupied. Bed unmade, coffee half drunk on the nightstand, shower still damp. On the dresser sits a local newspaper, open to the article about the Fairground Renovation Project. He knew we'd find them, Diana murmurs, scanning the room. He's been watching the excavation. A small notebook catches her eye, tucked under the pillow. Inside, a list of dates and initials: LB, 9/12/73 AH and AH, 9/8/78 men, 9/10/83 LR, 9/7/88, and on through 9 more sets of initials and dates, all in September, all 5 years apart. The most recent entry, 9/10/23. Diana's blood runs cold. These are victims, past and, she points to the last entry, just 4 days away. Future. Logan pales. The fair opens tomorrow. As they race back to the station, Diana's radio crackles. Sheriff, it's Liam. I've been examining the burial site more carefully. The girls weren't just buried, they were arranged, holding hands, and I found something carved into the metal support beam of the Ferris wheel, hidden below ground level. His voice wavers. Names, lots of names. The earliest is from 1968. How many? 11 so far. And Sheriff, the last name on the list is underlined Evelyn Hayes. Diana's hands tighten on the wheel. Get units to Evelyn's house, now! They screech into Evelyn's driveway minutes later. The front door stands ajar. Inside, signs of struggle. A broken lamp, an overturned side table, and on the hall mirror, written in what looks horribly like lipstick, "Ready for the next ride." Evelyn Hayes is gone. Diana orders an immediate bolo for both Henry Nash and Evelyn Hayes. As officers fan out across Millfield, she returns to the evidence, trying to piece together what they're facing. Nash has a pattern, she tells her assembled team. Every 5 years since 1968, a teenage girl disappears during the county fair. Always in September, always the same age range. She pins a map to the bulletin board, marking the locations of known disappearances. He works in a radius of about 200 miles, rotating through different county fairs. The pattern was too spread out for anyone to connect, until now. Logan raises his hand. But why come back to Millfield? It's the only location where he hit twice, the Hayes twins. And now he's taken their mother. That's what we need to understand. Diana turns to the case files. The Hayes case was different. 2 victims instead of 1. And Nash didn't just revisit Millfield every 5 years. He specifically returned to the fairgrounds. Liam enters, holding a plastic evidence bag. Found this in the soil near the twins. It's a token from the 1978 fair for the Ferris wheel. Diana examines it through the plastic, faded red with white lettering. Millfield County Fair, 1 ride. The Ferris wheel connects everything, she says. Nash operated it in '78 when the twins disappeared. The bodies were buried beneath it. And now, with the fairgrounds being renovated and the old wheel finally being replaced, he's being forced to change his ritual, Logan finishes. That's why he took Evelyn. He's adapting. Diana's phone rings. It's James from the lab. Sheriff, we've been analyzing those carvings on the Ferris wheel support beam. They're not just names. They're paired with what looks like measurements. And there's something else. The metal contains trace elements specific to a manufacturer that went out of business in 1967. What are you saying? This Ferris wheel has been traveling with the carnival since at least 1967. It's the same wheel, just reassembled at each location. Nash didn't just operate it, he owned it. The revelation hits Diana like a physical blow. Nash wasn't just returning to Millfield, he was following his trophy case across the country. Get me the Carnival Company records, she orders. I want to know every location that Ferris wheel has been since 1967. While they wait, Diana visits Evelyn's house again, this time noticing details she missed in the initial sweep. On the hallway wall hangs a collection of family photos. She stops at one, showing the twins with a middle-aged man. Evelyn's husband? She asks the officer accompanying her. Ex-husband, Leo Hayes, he replies. Left town right after the girls disappeared. Couldn't handle the grief, according to local gossip. Diana studies the photo. Something about the man's posture, the way he stands slightly apart from his family, triggers her investigative instinct. Find him, she says. I want to know where Leo Hayes has been for the past 45 years. Back at the station, the carnival records reveal a disturbing pattern. The same Ferris wheel has indeed traveled to every location where a girl disappeared, always operated by Nash, or, in the early years, by his father, Jack Black. It's a family business, Diana realizes. Passed down from father to son. Lucas Barnes, the station's tech specialist, rushes in. Sheriff, I got something from Evelyn's phone records. Last call before she disappeared was to this number. He hands her a printout. Diana freezes. The number belongs to Leo Hayes. And there's more, Lucas continues. I found old employment records. Before the twins disappeared, Leo Hayes worked for the same carnival company as Nash. He was a mechanic. He maintained the rides. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. It wasn't just Nash. They were working together. Diana calls the number from the phone records. It rings 4 times before a gruff voice answers. Leo Hayes? A pause. Who's asking? Sheriff Diana Hawkins, Millfield County. We need to talk about your daughters. Another pause, longer this time. You found them. It's not a question. Where's Evelyn, Leo? You don't understand. His voice cracks. None of it was supposed to happen. Henry said. The line goes dead. Diana slams her fist on the desk. Trace. That call. While waiting for the trace results, Diana returns to the fairgrounds. The excavation has expanded, revealing more of the Ferris wheel's buried foundation. Forensic technicians carefully document each carved name, each measurement. What are these measurements? Diana asks, pointing to the numbers beside each name. Height and weight, Liam answers grimly, and there's something else. He leads her to a section of the foundation where the technicians have uncovered a small metal box. We haven't opened it yet. Waiting for you. Diana pulls on gloves and carefully lifts the rusted lid. Inside, a collection of silver star necklaces, 11 of them identical to the ones the Hayes twins wore. Trophies, she whispers. Her radio crackles. "Sheriff, we traced Hayes's call. He's at the old carnival storage facility on Route 7. Night has fallen by the time Diana and her team surround the abandoned warehouse. Through a grimy window she can make out movement inside. Two figures. "Leo Hayes," she calls through the bullhorn. "This is Sheriff Hawkins. We have the building surrounded. Come out with your hands up." No response. "We know about the girls, Leo. We know about you and Nash." The warehouse door creaks open. Leo Hayes shuffles out, hands raised. His face is gaunt, eyes hollow with decades of torment. "He has Evelyn inside," he says. "And he has a gun." "Where's Nash?" Leo's face contorts with confusion. "Nash! Henry Nash died in prison 15 years ago." Diana's world tilts. "What?" "Robbery gone wrong in Indiana. He took the fall for everything, went to his grave protecting the family business." Leo's shoulders slump. "Protecting me? Then who's been checking into the Millfield Motel using Nash's name? Who took Evelyn?" A shot rings out from inside the warehouse, followed by a woman's scream. Leo's eyes widen with genuine terror. "It's him! My son, William. The carnival legacy didn't end with me." Diana draws her weapon. "William who?" "William Black. Henry Nash was his grandfather. I'm his father." Leo's voice breaks. "And he's finishing what we started." The warehouse echoes with another gunshot as Diana and her team take cover behind patrol cars. The tactical response unit has arrived, positioning snipers on adjacent rooftops and deploying officers around the perimeter. "Talk to me, Leo," Diana demands, keeping her voice low. "Who exactly is William Black?" Leo's hands shake as he accepts a blanket from a paramedic. "My son with Henry's daughter, Lillian. He swallows hard. "We were family in our way. The carnival was everything to us." "And the girls? The murders?" Leo's eyes dart to the warehouse. "It started with Henry, a ritual, he called it. Said the Ferris wheel needed feeding every 5 years. For luck, for prosperity." His voice drops to a whisper. "I thought it was just superstition until I met Evelyn, fell in love, wanted out." "So you married her, had twin daughters, tried to live a normal life," Diana pieces together. "But Henry wouldn't let you go." Leo nods, tears streaming down his weathered face. "He threatened to expose me for the earlier girls. Said if I didn't help him with one more ritual, he'd tell Evelyn everything. But I couldn't do it, not my own daughters." His body convulses with a sob. "I didn't know he'd take them anyway. By the time I found out, it was too late, so you ran. I confronted Henry, we fought. He said what was done was done. The wheel had been fed. Said if I went to the police, he'd frame me for all of it." Leo's fingers dig into the blanket. I couldn't face Evelyn. Couldn't tell her I was connected to the monster who took our girls. So I disappeared. And William? Henry raised him after Lillian died. Taught him everything." Leo's eyes lift to Diana's. "Including the ritual." Inside the warehouse, Evelyn Hayes sits bound to a chair, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. Across from her, a man in his 40s methodically arranges tools on a workbench. William Black, though the name on his carnival ID badge reads Henry Nash. "Why?" Evelyn asks, her voice remarkably steady despite her circumstances. "Why my girls? Why me?" William doesn't look up from his tools. "Because my grandfather chose you. Because my father betrayed us for you." He selects a heavy wrench, tests its weight in his hand. "The wheel must be fed every 5 years. It's the family legacy." "Your family legacy is murder," Evelyn spits. William finally turns, his eyes cold. "My family built something lasting. Generations of Blacks and Nashes maintaining the tradition until your family destroyed it." He steps closer. "Do you know what happened after my grandfather took your daughters? My father abandoned us, Left me and my mother with nothing but the carnival and the wheel. Outside, Diana has assembled her team. We go in quiet. Multiple entry points. Our priority is Evelyn's safety. She turns to Leo. Where would he keep her? The back office. It was the foreman's space when this was still operational. Diana nods to her tactical lead. Move in on my signal. She pulls Leo aside. I need to know everything about this ritual. What exactly does feeding the wheel mean? Leo's face crumples. Every 5 years a girl was selected. Always 16, always with a certain look, innocent but spirited. Henry would charm them, offer them special rides after hours. His voice fades. He'd take them to the control room at the base of the wheel. There's a space there beneath the mechanism. That's where... He chokes on the words. And what happened after? Their personal items became part of the wheel, buried in the foundation when it was reassembled at the next location. Henry believed it made the wheel stronger, protected it from mechanical failure. Leo looks up, anguish etched in every line of his face. It's madness, all of it. Diana's radio crackles. Team in position. She gives the signal to move in. Inside, William hears the faint creak of the warehouse's side door. His head snaps up, eyes narrowing. He moves swiftly to Evelyn, pressing the wrench against her throat. They're here, he whispers, right on schedule. Evelyn's eyes widen as she realizes. This was his plan all along. The tactical team moves through the warehouse in formation, weapons raised. Diana advances toward the back office, Leo following close behind despite her orders to stay outside. They reach the office door. Diana signals 3, 2, 1, and they burst in. The room is empty. Where? Diana begins. But Leo's already moving, running toward a metal hatch in the floor that stands open. The maintenance tunnels, he shouts. They run under the entire property. Diana calls for backup as she and Leo descend into the darkness below. The tunnels are narrow concrete passageways that once housed the warehouse's utility lines. Their flashlights cut weak swaths through the gloom. He's taking her to the wheel, Leo says, voice echoing. The old Ferris wheel storage area. It's where the removed pieces are kept. They navigate the maze-like tunnels, the air growing thicker with dust and the metallic scent of old machinery. Ahead, they hear voices. Evelyn's defiant tone, William's lower, menacing replies. They emerge into a cavernous subterranean room. And there it stands, the dismantled center hub of the old Ferris wheel, its massive axle and spokes creating a skeletal monument in the center of the space. Around it, in a perfect circle, 11 small markers protrude from the concrete floor. William stands at the wheel's center, Evelyn kneeling before him. In his hand, a knife glints dully in the sparse light. "Stop!" Diana commands, weapon trained on William. "It's over!" William smiles, unnervingly calm. Just in time. The ritual requires witnesses. He looks past Diana to Leo. "Hello, Father. Come to watch the final feeding. William, please." Leo steps forward, hands outstretched. "This ends now. No more girls, no more killing." "The wheel must be fed," William intones, "especially now that they've found its previous meals. The balance must be restored." "Those were people," Diana says, inching closer. "Young girls with lives ahead of them. They were chosen." William's knife doesn't waver from Evelyn's throat, just as she was chosen to complete the circle. "The circle?" Leo asks. William's smile widens. 12 spokes on the wheel. 12 sacrifices to complete the ritual. He gestures to the markers on the floor. 11 girls fed to the wheel. 1 more needed. But not just any girl this time. His eyes lock with Leo's. The mother of the twins. Perfect symmetry. Understanding dawns on Leo's face. "You were never going to take another teenager. You came back for Evelyn." "The ritual must evolve," William says. "Especially now that the original feeding ground has been disturbed." Diana takes another step forward. "Put down the knife, William. There's nowhere to go." But William doesn't appear concerned. If anything, His smile grows more confident. You still don't understand, do you? He places his free hand on the wheel's central hub. This isn't just metal and machinery, it's a vessel. Generations of blood and bone have made it something more. As he speaks, something shifts in the shadows behind the wheel. Diana adjusts her flashlight, revealing what had been hidden in the darkness. 5 figures emerging from behind the mechanical skeleton, each wearing a carnival worker's uniform, each holding a weapon. The wheel has many servants, William says. Many who understand its hunger, Leo gasps. The Black Family Carnival legacy. Diana realizes with mounting dread that they've walked into something far larger than one man's obsession. This is a cult, a generational devotion to a twisted ritual that has claimed lives across decades. William raises his knife. Let the final feeding begin. Diana's training kicks in as she assesses the deteriorating situation. 5 hostile subjects plus William, limited cover, 2 civilians, 1 a hostage, 1 a compromised witness. Backup still minutes away, navigating the tunnel system. Leo, she says, without taking her eyes off William, get behind me. To her surprise, Leo doesn't move. Instead, he takes a step forward, approaching his son with palms open. William, he says, voice gentle. I failed you. I failed our family, but this, he gestures to the wheel, to Evelyn, to the markers on the floor. This isn't our legacy. It's a disease that's infected our bloodline for too long. William's expression hardens. You don't get to decide that. You lost that right when you abandoned us. I was wrong, Leo admits. I was a coward, but killing Evelyn won't fix anything. It will complete the circle. William presses the knife closer to Evelyn's throat. 12 sacrifices, 12 spokes. Then the wheel can be rebuilt stronger than ever. The 5 figures, 3 men, 2 women, move in tandem, forming a tighter circle around them. Diana recognizes carnival worker uniforms, a ticket taker, a game operator, a food vendor, a maintenance worker, and a face painter. Ordinary disguises for an extraordinary horror. These are your cousins, Leo tells Diana, noticing her surveying. The group. My brother's children, Henry's sister's grandchildren. The family has branches you can't imagine. Diana clicks her radio. Officer in need of assistance. Multiple hostile subjects. Expedite backup. Only static answers. They're 2, deep underground. Evelyn, despite the knife at her throat, meets Diana's eyes with a calm that belies the chaos surrounding them. There's something in her gaze, not fear, but a silent communication. She shifts slightly, her bound hands working at something behind her back. Diana needs to buy time. Tell me about the ritual, William, she says, lowering her weapon slightly, but keeping it ready. How did it start? Why the Ferris wheel? William's eyes gleam with zealous pride. My great-grandfather built this wheel in 1931, during the Depression. Carnivals were struggling. People had no money for entertainment. His free hand caresses the hub's rusted metal. The first sacrifice was an accident. A young girl fell from the wheel during a storm, but that season was the most profitable ever. He continues, warming to his story. My great-grandfather made the connection. The wheel had been fed, and it prospered. So 5 years later, when times were hard again, he tested his theory. Another girl, another successful season. And it became tradition, Diana concludes, noticing Evelyn's fingers have almost worked free of their bindings. More than tradition. Necessity. William's voice drops to a reverent whisper. The wheel hungers. We are merely its caretakers. Behind. William, Diana notices movement. One of the backup officers has found another entrance to the chamber and is silently positioning himself in the shadows. She needs to keep William talking. Why 5 years? She asks. Why not every year? William laughs softly. The wheel taught us patience. Too many disappearances would draw attention. 5 years was perfect, long enough for investigations to go cold, for people to forget. his eyes narrow. Until Aurora and Aria. What was different about them? Twins. Leo interjects, his voice hollow. The wheel had never been fed twins before. Henry was curious about the effect. William nods. Grandfather said the wheel's power doubled that year. Our carnival had its most successful decade after the twins. His face darkens. Until father's betrayal weakened the bond. Diana sees. Evelyn's hands come free behind her back. Their eyes meet briefly. Evelyn is ready. And now, Diana asks, the original wheel is being dismantled, replaced. Is that why you need Evelyn? To appease it one last time? Not the last time, William corrects. A transition, the old wheel passing its power to the new. With the mother of the twins as conduit, the new wheel will carry forward all the strength of the old. Enough, Evelyn suddenly speaks, her voice cutting through the tension. I've listened to this madness for 45 years. You stole my daughters, destroyed my family, and for what? A carnival ride? She looks directly at William. You're not serving some mystical force. You're continuing a legacy of murder started by a desperate man during desperate times. William's knife hand trembles slightly. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, Evelyn interrupts. Your family created a story to justify evil, called it tradition to make it palatable, wrapped it in superstition to give it power. Her voice strengthens. But I'm not afraid of you or your wheel or your twisted family. Diana sees the hidden officer signal that more backup has arrived. She gives the imperceptible nod to prepare. For action. William Black, she announces formally, raising her weapon again. You're under arrest for the kidnapping of Evelyn Hayes, and as an accessory to the murders of Aurora and Aria Hayes. William's face contorts with rage. The ritual will be completed. He raises the knife. Everything happens at once. Evelyn drives her elbow back into William's knee. He staggers, the knife swinging wild. Diana fires, hitting him in the shoulder. He falls, and the 5 family members surge forward. Police, drop your weapons! Multiple officers emerge from the tunnels, firearms trained on the cultists. 2 of William's cousins immediately surrender. One runs, only to be tackled by an officer. The other 2 advance on Diana, forcing her to retreat toward the wheels. Up in the chaos, William regains his footing and lunges for Evelyn, knife still in hand. Leo throws himself between them, taking the blade deep in his side. Father! William freezes, shock replacing rage as Leo crumples to the ground. Diana tackles William, disarming him as blood spreads across Leo's shirt. Evelyn crawls to Leo's, aside, pressing her hands against his wound. Why? William asks, face pressed to the concrete as Diana cuffs him. Leo coughs, blood speckling his lips. Because it has to end. The wheel has taken enough. Paramedics rush in as the officers secure the scene. William and his remaining family members are led away in handcuffs. Diana kneels beside Leo as the medical team works to stabilize him. Stay with me, Leo, she urges. We need your testimony to put them away. Leo's eyes are growing distant. The box, he whispers, under the wheel's center, all the evidence, 45 years of records. Diana signals to Liam, who's just arrived. On scene. Check the base of the hub. He says there's documentation. Liam and his team locate a hidden compartment beneath the wheel's central axle. Inside, a leather-bound ledger, its pages filled with dates, names, locations, a meticulous record of every feeding, every victim, spanning 3 generations. As Leo is rushed to surgery, Diana sits with Evelyn in the hospital waiting room. All these years, Evelyn says, staring at her bandaged hands, I thought it was just Henry Nash, one monster who took my girls. She looks up at Diana. How do you make sense of this? An entire family, generations of them, killing children for a carnival ride? Diana has no answer. In 15 years as sheriff, she's seen humanity at its worst, but nothing like this organized generational devotion to murder. The carnival opens tomorrow, Evelyn continues, with a brand new Ferris wheel. Her eyes find Diana's. Do you think it's really over? Before Diana can respond, her phone rings. It's Liam, his voice tight with urgency. Sheriff, we found something else in the ledger. Names and dates of future targets. He pauses. There's an entry for tomorrow. Opening. New day of the fair. William's in custody, Diana reminds him. All his cousins too. That's just it, Liam says. According to this ledger, there are more family members than we knew, working at carnivals across the country. His voice drops. And they're all converging on Millfield for tomorrow's opening ceremony. Diana's blood runs cold. The new wheel. It needs its first feeding. Dawn breaks over Millfield as carnival workers put the finishing touches on the fairground. The new Ferris wheel towers over everything, its pristine white frame and gleaming lights a stark contrast to the weathered attractions surrounding it. A banner flutters in the morning breeze. Grand reopening, Millfield County Fair, celebrating 75 years. Diana hasn't slept. After Liam's call, she spent the night coordinating with state police and the FBI, piecing together the extent of the Black Families Network. The ledger revealed a disturbing truth. What began as one man's superstition had evolved into an organized cult spanning 3 generations and 7 states. How many are we looking at? She asks Agent Mason Fleming, the FBI's lead on the case. Oh, at least 27 confirmed family members working in the carnival industry, he replies, spreading photos across the conference room table. We've identified 15 currently in Millfield for the fair opening, and William isn't talking, lawyered up immediately, but his cousins are cracking. The youngest, Nova Turner, traded information for a reduced sentence. Fleming points to a page from the ledger. According to her, tonight's ceremony isn't just another feeding. It's what they call a consecration, the ritual transfer of power from the old wheel to the new. Diana studies the page. They've identified their target? Yes. Grace Hayes. Diana's head snaps up. Evelyn's granddaughter? Aurora's daughter. Born 7 months after her mother disappeared, Evelyn raised her. Fleming's expression softens slightly. Grace never knew her mother. She's 16 now, the same age Aurora was when she vanished. Does she know about any of this? Evelyn kept her sheltered from the investigation. As far as Grace knows, her mother and aunt were victims of a random predator who was never caught. Diana checks her watch. Where is she now? With Evelyn at the hospital. Leo's still in critical condition. And they're safe. 2 officers outside the room, 2 more at hospital entrances. Diana nods, then turns to the large map they've erected, showing the fairgrounds. Red pins mark positions of undercover officers. Blue pins indicate known locations of Black family members working the fair. They'll make their move during the opening ceremony, Diana says. The mayor cuts the ribbon. The new wheel takes its first passengers, and somewhere in that chaos, they'll try to take Grace. We could cancel the fair, Fleming suggests, and they'll just pick another target another time. We need to end this. All of it. Diana traces the wheel's location on the map. Besides, the town needs this. After 45 years of whispers and rumors about the Hayes twins, people deserve closure. So we use Grace as bait? Fleming's tone makes clear what he thinks. Of this idea, no, Diana says firmly. We make them think we're using her as bait, but we'll have a decoy, someone who looks enough like Grace to pass from a distance. The plan comes together over the next few hours. Officer Mila Bennett, with her slight build and dark hair, is a close enough match for Grace Hayes with the right styling. They set up a command center in the fair's administration building, with sightlines to the Ferris wheel's queue and loading platform. As afternoon approaches, Diana visits Evelyn and Grace at the hospital. Leo has stabilized, but remains unconscious, his prognosis uncertain. Grace Hayes has her mother's eyes, the same ones Diana has seen in photographs of Aurora. But where the photos showed twin girls with carefree smiles, Grace carries herself with a guarded intensity. Growing up in the shadow of her mother's unsolved disappearance has left its mark. "You found them," Grace says when Diana enters. Not a question, a flat statement of fact. "My mom and Aunt Aria," Diana nods. "Yes. And the man who took them is in custody?" "One of them. There were others involved." Grace's expression doesn't change, but her fingers tighten around the hospital chairs. "Armrest." "Others? Like who?" Diana glances at Evelyn, who gives a subtle nod. It's time she knew. Carefully, Diana explains the situation. The black family, the generational ritual, the targeting of teenage girls at county fairs. She omits Leo's involvement for now. That revelation can wait until he's conscious to face it himself. "So this wasn't random," Grace says when Diana finishes. "My mother and aunt were specifically chosen, yes, and now they want me." Again, not a question. "We believe so, which is why we need to keep you safe until we can arrest everyone involved." Grace stands, her posture straightening with sudden resolve. "Use me." "Absolutely not," Evelyn interjects. "Grandma, they took my mother. They took your daughters." Grace's voice remains steady, but her eyes burn with quiet intensity. "I want to help end this. We have a plan that doesn't put you at risk," Diana assures them both. "An undercover officer who resembles you will attend the fair opening. You'll remain here under protection." Grace sits back down, but Diana can tell from her expression that the conversation isn't over. By evening, the fairgrounds are alive with lights and music. The opening ceremony is set for 7 p.m., with the mayor scheduled to take the first official ride on the new Ferris wheel. Officer Bennett, dressed as Grace, mingles with the crowd under the watchful eyes of plainclothes officers. Diana coordinates. From the command center, radio in hand, scanning video feeds from cameras strategically placed throughout the grounds. "Any sign of our targets?" she asks Fleming. 9 confirmed on site, all in position as carnival workers. The others are likely in the crowd. He points to a monitor showing the wheel operator, a man in his 30s with a carnival uniform and a cap pulled low over his eyes. "That's Lucas, Black, William's cousin. He's operating the wheel just like his relatives did with the previous one." Diana studies the other monitors. They're being patient, waiting for the right moment. The crowd begins to gather for the ceremony. The mayor approaches the wheel, oversized scissors in hand for the ribbon cutting. Officer Bennett moves into position near the front of the audience. "All units stand by," Diana instructs over the radio. "Remember, we want to identify as many family members as possible before moving in." The ceremony begins. The mayor's speech drones on about renewal and community pride. Diana watches the monitors intently, noting subtle movements among the carnival. Workers, a nod here, a hand signal there. They're communicating, preparing. "Something's wrong," Fleming suddenly says, leaning closer to one of the screens. "Where's Bennett?" Diana scans the monitors. The officer who had been posing as Grace is no longer visible in the crowd. "All units, be advised. We've lost visual on our decoy. Repeat, Officer Bennett is not in sight." A crackle over the radio. Then, "Command, this is Turner. Bennett just entered the restroom near the cotton candy stand." Diana relaxes slightly. "Keep eyes on that building." The mayor finishes his speech, cuts the ribbon. Applause ripples through the crowd as he and other dignitaries board the first car of the Ferris wheel. "Command, Bennett still hasn't emerged from the restroom," Officer Turner reports after several minutes, requesting permission to check. "Granted," Diana responds. "Approach with caution." Moments later, Turner's voice returns, tight with alarm. "Command restroom is empty. There's signs of struggle and," he pauses, "blood on the sink." Diana's blood runs cold. "All units, Officer Bennett is missing, possibly injured. Initiate search protocol." As officers begin sweeping the fairgrounds, a new feed appears on one of the monitors. The security camera inside the Ferris wheels. Control booth. Lucas Black stands at the controls, but he's not alone. A teenage girl sits bound to a chair behind him, a gag in her mouth. "That's not Bennett," Fleming says, voice rising. "That's Grace Hayes." Diana stares in disbelief. "How is that possible? She was at the hospital with Evelyn." She grabs her phone, calls the hospital. The officer on duty answers. "Hayes' room, Officer Morris. This is Sheriff Hawkins. Is Grace Hayes still there?" A pause. "No, ma'am. She left with her grandmother about an hour ago. Mrs. Hayes said they were going home to rest. And you let them go, without confirmation from me?" "Mrs. Hayes showed me the text from you authorizing it," Morris responds, confusion evident in his voice. "It came from your number." Diana ends the call, turns to Fleming. "Someone spoofed my phone. Grace is in the control booth with Lucas Black, and we have no idea where Evelyn is." The mayor's car reaches the top of the wheel. Lucas Black pulls a lever and the wheel stops rotating. "Ladies and gentlemen," his voice comes through the fairground speakers, amplified for all to hear. "The Millfield County Fair Ferris wheel is now officially consecrated. Please enjoy the evening." To the oblivious crowd, it sounds like standard carnival patter. But Diana recognizes the coded message. The ritual has begun. All units converge on the Ferris wheel control booth. Suspects are armed and dangerous. We have a hostage situation. As officers move into position, Diana's phone rings. An unknown number. "Sheriff Hawkins," she answers. "Hello, Sheriff." A woman's voice, unfamiliar. "I believe you're looking for Evelyn Hayes." "Who is this?" "Lillian Vincent Williams' sister." The woman's tone is chillingly casual. "You've been very thorough gathering up my family members, but you missed a few of us." "Where's Evelyn?" "Safe for now. As is her granddaughter, but that can change quickly." "What do you want?" "Simple. My brother and cousins released, the ledger returned, and your guarantee that the Millfield County Fair proceeds uninterrupted for the next week. You know I can't do that. Then you know what happens next." Lillian's voice hardens. "The wheel must be fed, Sheriff, either with the girl we've chosen or with others. Your choice." The line goes dead. Diana turns to Fleming. "They're holding both Grace and Evelyn, and they're threatening to take more victims if we don't back off." Fleming's jaw tightens. "We don't negotiate with killers." "No," Diana agrees. "But we can pretend to." She calls Lucas Black on the control booth's direct line. He answers immediately. "Mr. Black, this is Sheriff Hawkins. I understand you have Grace Hayes." "She's unharmed," he replies. "For now." "I want to speak with her." A pause, then Grace's voice comes through, shaky but determined. "Sheriff, I'm okay." "We're going to get you out of there, Grace. Just stay calm." Lucas returns to the line. "Touching." "Now," my sister explained. "Our terms?" "She did. I need time to arrange the releases." "You have 1 hour. After that, Grace takes her ride on the wheel, a permanent one." Diana ends the call, turns to her team. "We need to locate Evelyn and find out how many more family members we're dealing with." As if in answer, Diana's phone pings with a text message from the unknown number, a photo of Evelyn, bound to a chair in what appears to be a maintenance room. The text reads, "For motivation, clocks ticking." Diana zooms in on the photo, studying the background for clues to Evelyn's location. Behind her, a wall calendar is partially visible for the Millfield storage facility. The old warehouse, Diana realizes. They've taken her back to where we found William. As the team mobilizes, splitting forces between the fairground and the warehouse, Diana's phone rings again. This time, a number she recognizes. "Leo," she answers. Leo Hayes' voice is weak but urgent. "Diana, the ritual, it's not what you think." "Leo, we don't have time." "Listen to me," he interrupts, his breathing labored. "The wheel doesn't need to be fed with death. That was Henry's perversion of the original ritual." He coughs, struggling to continue. The first accident. The girl didn't die. She was injured, scarred. Henry twisted it, made it about sacrifice instead of marking. Diana processes this. What are you saying? The family believes the wheel needs death, but it doesn't. It never did. His voice strengthens with desperate urgency. Tell them. Show them the truth before more blood is shed. As Leo's words sink, inner realization dawns on Diana, a way to potentially save Grace and end the Black family's reign of terror in one strategic move. But first, she needs to find the real power behind the ritual. Not William, not Lucas, but the one who's been orchestrating everything from the shadows, Lillian Vincent. The Millfield storage facility looms dark against the night sky, its corrugated metal walls reflecting the flashing lights of police vehicles. Positioned at strategic points around the perimeter, Diana approaches with a tactical team, their movements silent and coordinated. Thermal imaging confirms 2 heat signatures inside, the team leader whispers. One in the main office area, consistent with a seated adult. The second is moving through the building. Diana nods. Evelyn, and likely Lillian Vincent. Remember, we need Vincent alive. She's the key to ending this. As they prepare to breach, Diana's phone vibrates with an incoming call from the command center at the fairgrounds. Sheriff situation update, Agent Fleming reports. We've identified 6 more Black family members in the crowd. They're converging. On the Ferris wheel, creating a human barrier, Lucas is still in the control booth with Grace. Hold position, Diana instructs. Don't give them any reason to accelerate their timeline. We need to solve both situations simultaneously. She ends the call, turns to her team. On my signal, the breach is swift and precise. Within seconds, they've entered the facility and secured the main hallway. Diana follows the tactical team toward the office, weapon drawn. They find Evelyn exactly as shown in the photo, bound to a chair, a gag in her mouth, but otherwise unharmed. Diana rushes to free her, while officers sweep the remaining rooms. You all right? Diana asks, removing the gag. Evelyn nods, rubbing her wrists as they're freed from the restraints. Lillian, she was just here. Clear, calls an officer from an adjacent room. But we've got something you should see. Diana helps Evelyn to her feet, leading her toward the voice. They enter what appears to have been an administrative office, now transformed into a shrine. Photos cover one entire wall, black and white. Images dating back decades, each showing a young girl beside the Ferris wheel. Beneath each photo, a name and date are carefully written. The victims, Evelyn whispers, her eyes scanning the faces. All of them. Diana's attention is drawn to a leather-bound book open on a desk in the center of the room. Unlike the ledger they found earlier, this appears to be a journal. The handwriting is different from entry to entry, passed down through generations. The family's true record, Diana realizes, flipping through pages filled with ritual instructions, belief systems, and justifications for their actions. Leo was right. The original ritual wasn't about killing. She finds the earliest entry, dated 1931. Today, Emma Bennett fell from the wheel during the storm. Her blood blessed the mechanism, and though she lives, she will forever bear the mark of her service. The wheel has chosen her, and through her sacrifice our prosperity is assured. It began with an accident, Diana tells Evelyn. A girl was injured, not killed. But over time, the ritual evolved, or devolved, into murder. Sheriff, a tactical officer, appears in the doorway. We found a tunnel system beneath the facility. It appears to connect to the fairgrounds. Diana's mind races. That's how they're moving undetected. How they got Grace out of the hospital and into the control booth without being seen. She turns to Evelyn. We need to get back to the fair. Now. I'm coming with you, Evelyn says, her voice leaving no room for argument. At the fairgrounds, Tension has escalated. The Black family members have formed a protective circle around the Ferris wheel, keeping officers at bay while Lucas remains barricaded in the control booth with Grace. The wheel itself stands motionless, the mayor and other dignitaries still, trapped in the cars above. Diana arrives with Evelyn and immediately heads to the command center. Fleming updates her on their findings from the journal. "We've identified Lillian Vincent," he says, pointing to a monitor showing a middle-aged woman, directing other family members from the edge of the crowd. "She appears to be running the show." "The journal confirms it," Diana says. "She's the current keeper of the ritual, the one who decides when and how the wheel is fed." "So what's our play?" Diana outlines her plan, a calculated risk based on what they've learned about the family's beliefs and the original nature of the ritual. "You're betting a lot on a century-old superstition," Fleming observes. "I'm betting on human psychology," Diana corrects. "This family has been indoctrinated for generations. Their belief in the ritual is absolute. We can use that." With the plan in place, Diana approaches the Ferris wheel with Evelyn beside her. They stop just outside the family's protective circle. "Lillian Vincent," Diana calls. "We need to talk." The crowd parts slightly and Lillian steps forward. A woman in her 50s, with streaks of grey in her dark hair and the same cold eyes as her brother William. Sheriff Hawkins. Her gaze shifts to Evelyn. "And Mrs. Hayes, how did you enjoy your accommodations?" "We found your journal," Diana says, cutting to the chase. "The original journal, not the modified ledger you've been using to indoctrinate the younger generation." Something flickers across Lillian's face. Uncertainty. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I think you do." Diana takes a step closer. "The wheel never required death. That was Henry Nash's innovation, his perversion of the original ritual. The wheel required marking, not killing." Murmurs ripple through the family members surrounding them. Diana presses her advantage. "Emma Bennett in 1931. She survived her fall. She was marked by the wheel, and the carnival prospered. It was only later that Henry began killing the girls, burying them beneath the wheel's foundation." "Lies," Lillian hisses, but her confidence is visibly shaken. "It's in your own family's journal," Diana continues, "the one passed down through generations, the one you've kept hidden from the younger members because it contradicts what you've been teaching them." More murmurs, louder now. Diana can see doubt spreading through the gathered family. The real ritual requires blood, yes, but not death. A marking, a commitment. Diana looks directly at the younger family members. "You've been lied to, made complicit in murder for a ritual that never called for it." Lillian's face contorts with rage. "Enough!" She pulls a gun from beneath her jacket. "The ritual will be completed as it has been for decades. The new wheel will be consecrated with the Hayes girls' blood." "Put the gun down, Lillian," Diana says evenly, her own weapon now drawn. "Lucas!" Lillian shouts toward the control booth. "Begin the consecration." Inside the booth, Lucas hesitates, looking from his aunt to the bound Grace Hayes. "Lucas," Diana calls, "check your family's journal. The real one, not the ledger. The wheel never needed death. Henry Nash twisted the ritual to satisfy his own bloodlust." Lucas's gaze shifts to Lillian. "Aunt Lillian, is this true?" "Don't listen to her." Lillian's gun swings between Diana and Evelyn. "The ritual must continue as it always has." "Then why hide the original journal?" Diana presses. "Why keep it from the younger generation?" The doubt spreading among the family is palpable now. Some begin to back away from the protective circle. "The wheel must be fed," Lillian insists, her voice rising with desperation. "It must be fed." In the control booth, Lucas makes a decision. He unties Grace, helping her to her feet. "No!" Lillian screams, seeing her nephew's betrayal. She raises her gun toward the booth, but before she can fire, Evelyn Hayes launches herself forward with surprising speed for a woman her age. She tackles Lillian, sending them both crashing to the ground, the gun skittering away across the pavement. Diana moves in instantly, securing the weapon while officers swarm the area, detaining the remaining family members. In the confusion, Lucas emerges from the control booth with Grace. "I didn't know," he says as officers cuff him. "About the original ritual, I swear I didn't know." As she leaves the station, Diana reflects on Emma Bennett's final words. The wheel stops turning now. After nearly a century of ritual murder, after generations of girls disappearing from county fairs across the Midwest, after decades of a family united in horrific purpose, the wheel had indeed stopped turning. But Lillian Vincent's parting message echoes in her mind. Not over. Diana can only hope that Lillian is wrong, that the cycle, once broken, cannot be restored, that the truth, fully exposed to light, has power enough to end the dark legacy of the Ferris wheel and the family that fed it for so long. As she drives toward Evelyn's house, the silver star necklace secure in her pocket, Diana makes a silent promise to the victims, to the survivors, and to the town that has lived so long under the shadow of an unimaginable horror. This ends here. The wheel stops turning now, for good. 1 year later, Diana Hawkins stands at the podium in Millfield's newly dedicated Victim Memorial Center. Before her sits a crowd of survivors, family members, journalists and citizens, all gathered to mark the anniversary of the Black family's arrest and the unveiling of a permanent museum documenting the case. "Today, we remember," Diana begins. "We remember the victims, whose lives were cut short by unimaginable cruelty. We remember the survivors, whose courage brought truth to light. And we remember a community forever changed by the revelation that evil had lived among us, hidden in plain sight, for generations." In the front row, Evelyn Hayes sits beside Grace, both wearing silver star necklaces. Evelyn with Aria's recovered pendant, Grace with a replica made in honor of her mother. Beside them is Olivia Barnes, now openly acknowledging her identity as Layla Bennett, surrounded by 4 other survivors who have become her extended family over the past year. The Black family trials have resulted in 22 convictions, Diana continues. The final defendant was sentenced last month. Combined, they will serve over 200 years in prison. She pauses, letting the magnitude of that number sink in. But no sentence, no matter how severe, can restore what was taken from the victims and their families. The museum behind her houses artifacts from the case, photographs of the victims, timelines of the family's activities and educational materials on how ritualistic thinking can perpetuate violence across generations. One wing is dedicated to the survivors' stories, told in their own words through recorded testimonies and written accounts. Most powerful is the central exhibit, the dismantled hub of the Ferris wheel, displayed behind glass like the relic of a dark religion, which, in many ways, it was. After the ceremony, Diana walks through the museum with Evelyn and Grace. The past year has brought changes for all of them. Diana has been promoted to regional director of a multi-county task force dedicated to cold cases. Evelyn has become an advocate for families of missing children. Grace, now 17, has established a support group for relatives of murder victims. "It's strange," Grace says, studying the wheel's rusted hub. "A year ago, this was just a carnival. Ride to me. Now I know it was the center of so much pain for so many people. Not the wheel itself," Evelyn corrects gently, "the beliefs people built around it, the stories they told themselves to justify what they did." Diana nods. "The most dangerous weapon in the world is a powerful narrative in the wrong hands. They, Continue through the exhibits, pausing at a wall, displaying photographs of all 21 identified victims. Aurora and Aria Hayes are at the center, their school photos from 1978 enlarged and framed together. "I've been thinking," Grace says, looking at her mother's image, "about studying criminal psychology after graduation, maybe working with the FBI's behavioral analysis unit someday." "Your mother would be proud," Evelyn tells her, squeezing her hand. As they reach the survivors' wing, they find Olivia giving an impromptu tour to a group of visitors, explaining the significance of various items on display, including a cast-iron skillet identical to the one she used to escape Henry Nash in 1974. "The thing about surviving," she's telling the group, "is that it's not a single event, it's a daily choice. Every morning you decide whether to remain defined by what happened to you or to define yourself." Diana smiles, noting how much stronger Olivia looks now, standing tall, speaking confidently, no longer carrying the weight of secrets and fear. The museum tour concludes in a small garden behind the building, where a simple fountain plays among flowering plants. Stone benches arranged in a circle provide space for reflection. Diana excuses herself to take a phone call. Logan, now her second-in-command on the task force. "We got the DNA results back from the cold case in Westridge," he tells her. "It's a match to Jack Black, Henry Nash's uncle, 1961, 12 years before the first documented ritual killing." Diana absorbs this information. So the family's violence predates the ritual. Looks that way. The ritualization might have been a framework added later, maybe to give meaning to urges that were already there, or to control them, Diana suggests, to channel them into specific times and places. Either way, it suggests we should be looking even further back in the family history. After ending the call, Diana rejoins Evelyn and Grace, who are speaking with several of the survivors. The women have formed a tight bond over the past year, united not just by their shared trauma, but by their determination to reclaim their lives. "Sheriff Hawkins," one of them, Harper Fleming, calls out, "we were just discussing the support group. We've expanded to 3 new states in the past month." Diana nods approvingly. The survivor network that Emma Bennett had helped establish before, her death has grown into a formal organization, providing resources and community for victims of prolonged abduction and ritualistic abuse. "The FBI has been using your model to connect with survivors of similar cases," Diana tells them. "Your work is making a difference beyond Millfield." As the afternoon progresses, the crowd gradually disperses. The media conducts their final interviews, cameras capturing the Memorial Center for evening news segments. Families of victims share memories and find comfort in collective remembrance. Diana is preparing to leave when she notices a solitary figure standing at the edge of the garden, partially obscured by shadows. A young man, perhaps in his early 20s, watching the proceedings with intense interest. Her instincts activate. She approaches casually, positioning herself to block any potential exit route. "Can I help you?" she asks. The young man startles slightly. "Just observing," he says, his voice soft. "It's an important day. Do you have a connection to the case?" He hesitates, then meets her gaze directly. Something in his eyes, a familiar coldness, sends a warning through Diana's body. "You could say that," he replies. "My name is Noah Vincent. Lillian is my great-aunt." Diana maintains her composure, though her hand instinctively moves closer to her weapon. "I wasn't aware Lillian had any young relatives who weren't implicated in the case." "There's a lot about the family that remains unknown, Sheriff Hawkins." A slight smile plays at the corners of his mouth. "Branches that were deliberately kept separate, protected, you might say, for the future." The implication chills Diana. "Protected for what purpose?" Noah glances toward the museum, toward the displayed hub of the Ferris wheel. Every tradition faces challenges, periods of dormancy. The wise ones prepare for those times by safeguarding their knowledge. His eyes return to Diana's, by ensuring the wheel can turn again when conditions are right. Before Diana can respond, Noah hands her a small envelope. A message from Aunt Lillian. She asked me to deliver it personally. He turns and walks away, disappearing around the corner of the building before Diana can decide whether to detain him. The envelope in her hand feels unnaturally heavy for its size. Inside is a single piece of paper bearing just 5 words in Lillian's distinctive handwriting. The wheel never stops turning, and below it a list of names, teenagers from towns across. 3 states, each with a date beside it. Future dates, future targets. Diana immediately calls for backup, initiating an APB for Noah Vincent. But as officers search the area, she knows he's already gone. A ghost, a promise, a threat. A reminder that while they've dismantled the wheel itself, the ideology that powered it may have survived in carefully preserved pockets of the family. That evening, after the search has been called off and security measures implemented for all, the named potential targets, Diana returns to the memorial garden alone. The fountain bubbles quietly in the gathering dusk, its sound almost like distant laughter. She sits on one of the stone benches, Lillian's notes secure in an evidence bag beside her. Tomorrow will bring new investigations, new protective measures, new hunts for hidden family members they missed in the initial sweep. But tonight, in this moment of transition between victory and renewed vigilance, Diana allows herself to acknowledge what she's perhaps known all along, that evil, once rooted in human hearts and minds, is never truly eradicated. It can be exposed, punished, dismantled, but somewhere, someone always preserves its seeds.